Surprise! Hey! So, yeah, that's right, we're doing 2 videos this week. How do you feel about that? What? Yeah, we just thought that we'd talk about some embarrassing stories. And because we're all very embarrassed people, we block a lot of them out. So we're going to have to do this in installments. So this is going to be just a little midweek video for you about us cringing at ourselves. Yeah. So, let's do that. Oh! Okay, let's get into it. Now we have a little treat for you. One of our Huns, bless her heart, has written in with a story and she'd like some advice. Okay, so Rebecca is the name of the little Hun. She asked for anonymity, so she went on a day out with her partner and children and dogs the other day to a lovely place called Saltwell Park. And she said that she wore leggings that day instead of jeans because the leggings are easier to run around after the dog's in. Right. And it wasn't until the very end of the day out that she realised she had a massive gaping hole. She literally just had a massive ripped gaping hole right where her vaginus is. Yeah, so a whole vein was on show and she didn't know about it the whole time until they got back to the car to go home. So she's wrote it in as a funny story but also as a question. She would like to know what us 3 little Huns would do if we saw someone who had their vein hanging out but didn't seem to know about it, because she said that as she was walking around she definitely got funny looks. Mm-hmm. But just no one... I would imagine you would. No one told her about it. So obviously other people saw and not one person had her back and said, just so you know, your vein's hanging out.
First of all, Rebecca, that's not very modest. So what would you do, Charlotte?
What would you do if you saw someone in Becca's situation?
I'd suffer from severe second-hand embarrassment.
Would you tell them? Or would you leave it?
It's a tricky question, okay? Because one, it's like, do I want to go over to that person and will I be able to contain my laughter? I'm sorry, I'm really trying to be nice, but it's embarrassing. I just wouldn't want to... Obviously, I'd want to let the person know. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't want to embarrass them any further. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to go over and be like, oh, hi, you got a massive gaping hole in your leggings, but also everybody's seen it.
What would you do? I think I'd probably tell them, to be honest, but I'd be like really awkward about it. Like in the shop the other day when someone was wearing their face covering upside down. Like, no, she didn't have it on upside down. She just had one of the disposable ones, and it's got like a little band in the top so you can pinch it on your nose so it doesn't move up and down and there's no gaps, and she wasn't wearing it properly. I literally waited until we'd finished being at the till for like 10 minutes, and then on the way out went, I'm just saying, you can't do this.
Not only did you wait until the end, but you just started to walk away and then went back to the till.
I rehearsed it, didn't we?
I'll be fully honest with you, I wouldn't do anything. And I know that sounds
Maybe
awful,
she was there.
But I feel sorry for people who don't warrant me feeling sorry for them. I get crippling second-hand embarrassment. If I'd seen you, Becca, I would, in my head, I'd just be like, what if she already knows and she gets offended that I've mentioned it? What if she doesn't know and it ruins her day? What if she doesn't know and I tell her and it brings attention to it and everyone's like, I can see your family. Like, I can't. I'd rather ignore it. Sorry. I sound like I'd rather pretend I hadn't seen it and try and put it out of my head, even though I know I'd think about it for the rest of my life and be sad for you.
Like, that's the thing as well though, because I once did something which obviously not applicable to this situation, because obviously that was a mistake and there was a rip in your pants. But like, I was behind the bar one time, like 5 years ago or something, and there was a lass like wearing a nice shirt and stuff, and you could literally see a full like cup of her bra. Mm-hmm. And I was like, babe, just so you know, your bra's hanging out. She was like, I know.
it's fashion. And I was like, modesty?
That's modest. Can I ask us a question?
Yeah, of course.
Rebecca, you probably don't want this advice. What would you do if you were Rebecca? I'll start. I wouldn't go back to Saltwell Park. I would also, and I really don't mean to be dramatic here, right? But if that genuinely happened to me, I'd probably get some sort of counselling. Just because, I know that sounds really horrible, but just because I would think about that for the rest of my life. I'd be on my deathbed and I'd be like, oh my god, that time that I went to Saltwell Park and everyone saw me funny.
You're right, you know, because something happened to me in the gym, honestly, about 4 years ago. And you know when people, you got your headphones on and people are like, are you using that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just minding my business and I looked up and somebody was going. And I went, oh, do you want to use that? Sorry. And he was like, no, I'm just saying bye to my friends. And and then sometimes I see him walking down the street and I'm just like, please don't recognise who I am. Like, honestly, if I could go home and say my goodbyes and dig a hole in the garden. So, I'm sorry, Becca, but I'd probably have to just live the life of a hermit.
At the customs house, I was like, everyone in between shows was ordering food and stuff, and one thing came back and we couldn't find who it belonged to, so I had to call my friend Jordan, who is my friend Jen's partner, and be like, oh, is this your omelette? And he was like, oh yeah, you'll just have to leave it on the side or whatever. Okay. I was like, oh, okay, good, just like, we couldn't find out whose it was or anything. I'll see you when you get back, love you, bye. I was like, I don't love you, that was weird, I'm sorry, bye.
One time when I was leaving church, I had this, right, first of all, I had this skirt, right? Do you remember the skirts that were like skirt, then a bit of ribbon, and then hanky hem? And I had these little white kitten heels, you probably remember them.
Yeah.
And so everybody left the back of the church where the cars were, so everyone was around the car park at the same time.
She's just avoiding, she's telling you pointless stuff because she just doesn't want to say it.
And I opened the car door and lifted my leg up, and then, but I think I was like, okay, I'll use the other leg because I'm always like, ooh. And as I put my leg back down, my skirt caught on my heel and pulled the back of my skirt fully down. And I just had to like pull it back up and get in the car as if nothing had happened, and everybody at church saw me bum.
Literally, what is it? What day was it? When I was with David, he got out, so he took us driving, and we got out of he got out to swap at the Hardy's museum, and he literally got out and then he got the L plates out to put on the car, and he put the one at the back, and then somehow his pants just fell down. And he was like, oh no, what's happened? And instead of just stopping it, he had one thing in his hand. Instead of just stopping and pulling them up, he waddled all the way around the front of the car. Put the L plate on, I was like, just pull your pants up. And he was like, oh, I can't do it. And then he got all the way around to where you get in the car. And then he was like, oh, that was so embarrassing. I was like, you could just pull your pants up. I don't know.
Like, I don't know, guys just don't get embarrassed like women do. I'll say one of my exes, so some doesn't get offended, but one of my exes used to constantly be like, oh, I shit myself, oh, I shit myself, oh, I think I shit myself.
Boys always think they shit themselves.
Can you check to see if I shit myself?
Why can't you check?
And I can't fart during sex without wanting to kill myself.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not.
When me and Blank went to Portugal, there was this Irish bar, and it was like all of the walls were just big windows. And the doors were the same, they just had handles on them. So funny. So I was inside getting drinks, right?
Right.
And the cash register faced where Blank was sitting outside.
Yeah.
So, in my head it's so funny. This woman came out of the toilet, just walked into the window, just like that. And I know what you said, well honestly I haven't been there to see because it was the funniest thing. They laughed about it for at least 6 months after.
One time I was on an escalator coming out of the metro, and my hood got caught on one of the spikes in the middle. And there's people behind us as well. My boyfriend at the time was just like, what? And I was just like, Elvis! He literally didn't care one tiny bit.
So in year 5, and the picture will be on the screen somewhere, but the bottom of these chairs, okay, the rubber stoppers weren't there when they were supposed to be, and so I pushed the table so that my chair would slide out. But obviously my chair didn't slide, it just went back. So you not in slow motion and watched the whole room as what I thought was the room fall upside down until I realised that I was actually still fully sat in my chair properly on its back with my legs in the air like this, just being like, what's happening?
Do you know that? Do you know when you first like go into Fowler Street and there's like that big like part of the pavement that gets narrower as you go down on the left hand side? I was like walking down there backwards and I was like 6 or something.
Donatello's.
Oh yeah.
And I was like walking down there backwards and Mum had already told us not to walk backwards and I was like, I didn't give a I was walking backwards and I tripped and I fell. This like weird American man just caught us between his legs like that. I was like so mortified that I fell and he just went, it's a good job of Carter.
Is that what that's off?
Do you know what I have really second-hand embarrassment for? And so, you know the big round tables that they use at events that are actually split in that are actually split in half and you stack them on top of each other like that. So we're at this meeting for a show that we're all in and everybody was asked to sit in a certain area so that the director could talk to all. And one lass, bless her, she was a bit different to everybody else, decided to sit separate and perch herself on one of these half tables. Obviously it needs all the legs to be stable, and just out of nowhere she just went and then she got up as if nothing happened.
Just one really small thing. It's really embarrassing for me, but so my sixth form that I used to attend, it's just literally at the top of my street, and whenever it would be snowing or icy and I'd be walking to school and I would like not fall but be like and I'd be so embarrassed I'd literally just be like not actually down anyone, but I'd just be like, I think I just slipped.
When I'm in a supermarket, if I go down the aisle that I wasn't meant to go down, even though nobody knows what aisle I was meant to go down, I'll pretend I'm looking for something. I'll pretend I'm looking for something like...
Okay, no, I've got one more thing.
Okay.
So, as you know, I used to work at Primark. Okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd get taken off my department and put on the tills. And really, honestly, I am good with numbers, okay, and I'm good with money, like counting it and stuff. But I'd scanned all this clothes. I'd scanned everything that was in this woman's basket, and I was like, all right, the total's £21.20, I think. And she gave us 30 quid, and I was like, okay. And I promise you I know how to work out change, okay? And I'd gotten the change and she went, oh, here's £1 if that makes any better. And I was like, I'm really sorry, I don't know what to do. I had to get my supervisor to sort that change out.
Mine's not really that embarrassing, it was just like, oh, what have I done? So
no.
I'd gone to this guy's house. So I'd already had some drinks because I'd been at a daytime birthday party. So we're sitting on his sofa and we're like splitting and stuff, and I had a drink out of a bottle and it just completely missed my mouth. It just went. And I just kind of looked at her and I was like, oh, do you know?
There's like I got a Subway like last weekend, and there's like someone who's just started working there that I like know, but I don't like know her, but we know each other's names. And she tried, my sandwich was supposed to cost like £6, and she tried like we got to the end, and she went, "That's £27.98, please." And I literally just went, "Okay." I literally just went, "Okay, cool. Contact this." And she went, "Oh wait," and I was like, "Oh my god, thank God." I don't even know who I've got food about.
Very quick for a Subway. If you'd like to become a supreme little Hun, please send £100 to this PayPal address.
If you have any embarrassing stories, please either comment them down below or send them to this email address, which is just 3littlehuns@gmail.com, and you never know, we might even read it out.
What a treat that'll be.
If you'd like to buy me a car, then buy me a car.
If you'd like to be my dad. So after about 45 minutes of being severely embarrassed, that was just a few embarrassing stories. It's so embarrassing. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to ring the bell for notifications so that you get notified when we upload a video. And also, if you would like to become a little Hun, then please do subscribe, it would mean a lot. Charlotte made a finish! Yay!
Why are you crying?
You just farted.
It's a fault.
No. Rich people.
If you'd like to be a philanthropist, I'm accepting donations.
Alright, everyone say bye.
Bye!
Bye!
Bye! Bye! Bye! Bye! Bye!
That's on period.